Next up, we got what pretending to be crazy looks like. Just keep popping up on my recommended. So obviously, you two want me to watch it. It's 59 minutes long, so I'm not gonna watch all of it, but we gonna just see what the fuck going on, man. Hey, let's see what it is. Time.
In a police interrogation room in the early hours of a Tuesday morning. This is 26-year-old Dawson McGee, sitting in a police interrogation room in the early hours of a Tuesday morning. The Monday night before, he stabbed his own mother to death for asking him to move out of the house and get a job. Dawson is unaware.
Whoa, man, society. Whoa. It's just 20 seconds in. What the fuck is going on?
That he is being recorded on a hidden camera. In 3 seconds from now, he will hear the sound of the door being opened by a detective.
And wait, hold on. Did he kill her? He said his mother? Did he kill her? Did he kill his mother because his mother said, oh my, I didn't.
You will see a remarkably noticeable switch in his demeanor.
Too crazy and... Oh, that nigga...
Something I want to talk to you about. I want to talk to you about what happened to your mom.
What happened to my mom?
Well, you tell me.
Why you pretending to be crazy, though?
Something happened at home to mom. They were very bad. What happened to my mom?
Well, that's what I'm asking you.
First of all, his first fuck up is why wouldn't he think that it would be cameras inside this room? You thought it would just be no cameras? Like, this nigga's stupid. Oh my god.
I was waiting for my brother and sister to tell me.
Okay. Well, so, was your sister home this weekend?
Wait, I'm supposed to have an attorney?
If you want one.
Am I supposed to have I should request an attorney.
Well, that's up to you if you like one. But I mean, we'd like to talk to you.
You're supposed to have an attorney. I would offer. I want to ask for an attorney.
You want to ask for an attorney?
Yeah.
Okay.
It would come as no surprise that a judge deemed him fit to stand trial. A jury then found him legally sane, and he was sentenced to life in prison for the murder of his mother. All of which was in spite of a continuous charade of mental illness similar to the one you see here. Dawson clearly believed that his passage through the legal system would somehow be easier if he were presumed insane, which is a naive, yet somewhat common misconception that many suspects make when facing serious charges. They have this notion that a plea of insanity would either lower the severity of their punishment or liberate them from it altogether. That instead of being sent to prison, they would simply be released back into society, perhaps with a free psychotherapeutic program to attend on the weekends. This is, of course, a far cry from reality. In the United States, if you're found responsible for a serious offense, but also found not guilty of the crime by reason of insanity, you will be institutionalized at a high-security psychiatric facility. These institutions are without question some of the darkest and most disturbing places in the system. And if you're not actually suffering from the crippling effects of mental illness, living in this type of environment will be a mentally agonizing experience. The foresight of what occurs inside these units would make the majority wish to avoid them. But once you are in, it is very hard to get out, and you will have to serve the same, if not a greater amount of time than you would have had to serve at a regular prison. So to put it briefly, if you commit a serious offense and then pretend to be crazy in order to get away with it, your life from that point forward will be an extremely dark and uncomfortable existence whether you manage to fool the system or not.
His dumbass thought he was finessing the system, and they finessed him.
But there is one benefit, which is the elimination of capital punishment. The United States cannot execute someone deemed insane during the time of their offense, which is the only conceivable reason a defendant would cling to this narrative even after...
But if you get life, then it doesn't matter. You're still gonna do life. Like, you're still gonna die. So it doesn't matter really if you get executed or not. That's just gonna make your life really easier because you're not gonna live out whole life sentence. You're just gonna die easy and it'll be over with. But you're gonna die anyway because you get in life. So I mean, shit. I guess I don't know.
Knowing what lies ahead should it succeed. And this happens to be a notion that ties in closely to the primary subject of this video. It will focus on one particular individual whose interrogation footage is so fraught with blatant trickery that most of the segments presented to you won't even need suggestive commentary. You can simply observe and judge for yourself whether you see authentic behavior or not. But before showing you what pretending to be crazy looks like, we'll briefly show you a genuine case of the criminally insane, or at least a far more convincing one. This is 18-year-old Jared Murray, a freshman at East Central University in Oklahoma. On a Wednesday evening in December, he asked fellow student Gennaro Sanchez for a ride to Walmart. Once they got there, Murray pulled out a handgun and made Gennaro drive to an isolated country road where he shot him twice in the head. He then attempted to hitchhike to Canada, but was soon apprehended by police on the side of the road. He immediately confessed to the crime once apprehended, and was then interrogated by the arresting officer.
I went down to his dorm room and asked if I could be given a ride to Walmart in exchange for $20 gas money.
So he took you to Walmart?
Yes, sir.
And did you both go in?
No, we did not go in, sir.
Okay, and why not?
We pulled into the parking lot, then I pulled the weapon on him and demanded that he take me to Asher, Oklahoma, sir.
Okay, and why did all of a sudden did you decide that you need to go to Asher?
Because I was planning to take him out into the country and kill him.
Okay. Did he say anything?
He panicked, went to pull out his phone. I yanked the phone out of his hand, and then he panicked some more, kept telling me not to kill him. To make him feel more comfortable, I unloaded the clip, unloaded the bullet from the chamber, handed them over to him, and that eased his nerves a little. Then I pulled a second clip out of my pocket and set it on my lap.
And so you're driving east, and so I guess at some point
What is wrong with you,
you
bro?
decided it was now
Are you okay?
Yes,
What did he even do to
What
you?
happened?
I loaded the gun quickly, chambered the round quickly, shot once, missed, shot a second time, hit, jumped out of the car, went around. He was driving 10-15 miles an hour, so it was rather slow. Ran around the hood of the car, and of course it was slow when he wasn't purposefully driving. Tried to pull him out, couldn't get him out until he already had hit the tree. Pulled him out there, dumped him into the, before I dumped him into the ditch, I heard him gurgling. I'm not sure if that was a physiological or physical process after death, but I thought that he might have still lived through that somehow, because he was gurgling, so I shot him again and then shoved him down in the ditch.
He makes a half-hearted attempt to conceal the body with a handful of leaves and a stick. He then walks in the direction of the highway.
Did you get back on the highway?
Yes, sir.
And which way did you go?
North, sir.
And what were your intentions? When you were walking north?
Canada, sir.
You was going to Canada?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
He states that his plan was to escape into Canada, but he had nothing to escape with, not even a passport.
I had tried hitchhiking most of the way because the only way this was going to work, factoring in my belief that y'all found the crime scene, is if someone were to give me a ride there and then. And then whenever your patrol car was pulling up behind me, I didn't know it was a patrol car. I stuck my thumb out and you was there for the rest.
Jared, I want to ask you just point blank, because, I mean, you sat here and confessed to,
Pretty much everything.
in my mind, and I think you might agree with me, just cold-bloodedly killed a young man tonight.
Yes, sir.
Or last night. Have you ever killed anybody else?
No, sir.
You will now see the detective attempt to establish a motive for the crime.
I guess I'm having a hard time understanding what you got out of it.
Thank you.
Can you help me?
I don't really get anything out of it.
But why did you do it? What is wrong with you?
I'm sad that I got caught so quickly.
Huh?
Why I should believe you that there just was going to be one person that was going to suffer from your consequences of killing.
You have no reason to believe me, sir.
I guess I'm just still having a real hard time understanding why.
The detective fails to establish a solid motive for a further 2 minutes. The discussion eventually lands on the victim's long-term girlfriend.
You don't think she's going to be upset, heartbroken?
I think she will be, sir.
How did that make you feel?
No different, sir.
Menace Society. Menace Society. Hall of Fame.
You told me
Hall of Fame.
straight
nuisance to society.
What happened?
Yes, sir.
But, you've done a terrible thing tonight.
Yes, sir.
You killed
I'm
a young
bad,
man,
bro.
Yes, sir.
just for the simple fact of, I guess pretty much this is safe for you.
Yes, sir.
And
Oh.
what do you think should happen to you?
Death sentence, sir.
And why do you think you deserve the death sentence?
An eye for an eye, sir.
Do you believe an eye for an eye?
Yes, sir.
Jared Murray was found not guilty by reason of insanity. He was committed to a high-security mental facility where he is to remain indefinitely.
Oh.
Anything to say for yourself today?
No, ma'am.
Any reason why you might have done this to this young man?
No, ma'am.
No reason.
No, ma'am.
You have nothing to say for yourself.
No, ma'am.
You want to tell the community anything?
No, ma'am.
Did you confess to police?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you proud of what you've done?
No, ma'am.
Do you have remorse for what you've done?
No, ma'am.
He appears completely void of human emotion. No regret, remorse, shame, nor fear. He had both taken a life and destroyed his own, yet seems indifferent to the circumstances. With respect to his interrogation footage, the most conspicuous element was the complete lack of self-preservation. He didn't once attempt to deflect blame, nor afford himself any type of justification for his actions. He simply spoke in a factual, non-biased manner, impartial to how his words may have been taken or even twisted to be used against him. There was no calculated structure to his behavior whatsoever. So with this notion in mind, let's move on to the primary subject of this video.
They said just the primary subject, so that was like all side stories.
Go there a minute, have a seat on the bar chair, alright?
These all different people.
A little bit. Have a seat.
I wonder if it's just an hour long or different people. Oh, this is the same person. Oh my. Oh, so this is this whole interview. Oh, okay. All right, I don't know how long you gonna watch of this now.
Did you feet up?
This is kind of interesting though, no cap. I don't know what's wrong with people, bro.
Don't-
He was the
not
craziest
much
one.
enough for everybody.
The last person was the craziest one, no cap.
This is 19-year-old Nikolas Cruz, who 3 hours and 55 minutes prior to this moment murdered 17 people at his former high school in Parkland, Florida. Among the dead
Whoa!
were 3
School
teachers
nuisance.
and 4
School nuisance. He just shot school up? That's what he just shot a
This
school
is
up?
19-year-old Nikolas
my
Cruz,
God.
who 3 hours and 55 minutes
Fuck.
prior to this moment murdered 17 people at his former high school in Parkland, Florida. Among the dead were 3 teachers and 14 students, the majority of whom were 14 years old. A further 17
14
students were seriously wounded during the massacre. The gunman dropped his rifle 7 minutes into the rampage and then blended in with the crowd as he ran out of the building. He was at large for 1 hour and 20 minutes, during which time he stopped off at a Subway and then a McDonald's, where he sat down and casually spoke to one of the victim's brothers. The student was unaware that his older sister had just been shot through the chest by the man sitting across the table. The description of the shooter was transmitted by police over the radio, which led to an officer identifying and arresting him on a street just 2 miles away from the school. He was taken to the nearest hospital and examined by a doctor for roughly 1 hour and 45 minutes. He was medically cleared and then transferred to the local sheriff's office where he was subjected to interrogation.
Do not.
But he just shot a school up. Oh, wow. It's hilarious. I mean, not hilarious,
From the
but
moment the subject entered
down
the room,
bad.
his eyes have been fixed upon nothing but the floor. He's held on to this
Why
downward-facing
he-
gaze as if he's either in a state of shock or disconnected from the moment.
wow, bro. What is wrong with you? Serious help. Eat it. You trying to break his finger? Yo, what are you doing?
At the exact moment the door
Oh.
shuts, he lifts up his head to observe his surroundings. His behavior completely shifts once he believes no one is watching. If we look at his demeanor a moment earlier, we can see the contrast. He went from being detached to alert. His behavior changed as the environment changed, which is a recurring theme throughout this interrogation. It shows us that his mind isn't wandering off during these moments of apparent disconnection. He is in fact fully present and very aware of what's going on around him. As he looks up, his eyes immediately lock onto the camera. He now knows he is still being watched, and his following gestures will resemble that of someone with suicidal tendencies.
He's doing that on purpose. I think he's doing that on purpose.
At face value, these externalized suicidal thoughts may seem genuine to some, but when framed with the rest of his behavior throughout this interrogation, they are exposed for what they really are: an act, a calculated attempt to garner sympathy and paint his character in what he believes to be a more positive light.
Knew it. Knew he's acting. Of course he's acting. He looks straight at the camera, then now he want to act like he want to shoot himself.
All right, how you doing, Nick?
You want to think about shooting yourself when you just killed 17 people. You should have shot yourself after that. You should have killed them. If you was gonna kill yourself, you should have killed. If you was gonna either do anything, kill them and then kill yourself. That's usually what they do too. They do that.
You all right? Gotta be able to speak so I can hear you.
Or not even kill them. You could just kill yourself and not even kill 17 people. Like.
All right, I just need to ask you really your name and date of birth just to confirm I got it right, and then I'm gonna see you want a glass of water or something. What's your first name?
This is a situation where the proof against the suspect is already conclusive. He is without question responsible for the crimes under investigation, making the pursuit of a confession not essential. The police know he did it, but they need to know why he did it, which would already require a complex strategy in order to obtain the correct information. But the suspect's first recorded statements upon his arrest have now made the procedure considerably more difficult.
What's going on today, bro?
The demons, man.
Demons?
Voices.
Yeah, no problem.
Voices.
Voices and demons?
Where's the voices? What happened?
Shut up. Just be quiet, man.
Shut up. Demons, man. Voices.
I feel like he's lying, bro.
Forged the primary stratagem of his own interrogation,
oh, this is in
to
Florida?
cut through deception under the guise of supportive examination. The questions will be designed to lock him into a specific narrative about his alleged psychosis, while simultaneously giving him the impression that his responses are for his own benefit. Anything he says now can be used to refute any amendments he might come up with at a later stage. We all know that after this interrogation, he will have significantly more time to think, study, and even seek guidance from professionals about how the legal system interconnects with mental illness. Yet the majority of this forthcoming knowledge could be useless to him depending on what he says during these moments. The more details he gives away, the less options he will have for his defense later on. But pursuing this objective is complicated, as there are two very common scenarios for when this type of suspect gets interrogated. And just to be entirely clear, by this type of suspect, we mean someone who is 1. Pretending to be insane, and 2. Not fooling anyone. Their most common
literally though, literally.
They regress into total silence.
He said not fooling anyone.
Or some type of catatonic state, and the interrogation never gets off the ground. The other common response is the exact opposite. They erupt into hysteria or supposed delirium, and everything from that point forward becomes incoherent. The lead detective, John Curcio, must not allow either of these scenarios to transpire, and this makes the first 2 minutes absolutely crucial. He needs to create a positive first impression and resemble the furthest thing from a threat, while at the same time maintain a presence of authority. His temperament will be easygoing and non-confrontational, but also encouraging when extracting a response. His role at this moment is the ally. He needs to be liked, respected, but must not be feared. Not yet, anyway. Going off the suspect's initial demeanor, the detective will know that he is far more likely to regress into a state of silence at this opening stage, and if he can prevent that from happening within the first 2 minutes, he is over the first obstacle.
All right, how you doing, Nick? I just need to ask you really your name and date of birth just to confirm I got it right, and then I'm gonna see you want a glass of water or something. What's your first name? Come on, Nick. Huh?
Nikolas.
Spell it for me.
Okay.
Come on, I'm old. You gotta talk so I can hear you. N-I-K. O.
L.
Okay. A-S. And what's your middle name? Come on, man, speak so I can hear you.
Jacob.
Jacob. J-A-C. What's your date of birth? Okay, you need to relax, because I'm the last detective or policeman you're going to have to talk to. So right off the bat, that should be somewhat comforting to you to know that I'm the last guy you got to talk to. But the thing about it is, look at me. I got to be able to hear you. Okay? So all I want to do is get basic information from you, and then we'll get into the, whether you want a glass of water, all that stuff. What's your date of birth?
09.
January?
09.
09 September.
The investigation team already know the answers to these basic questions. Their only purpose are to initiate a response, and their non-threatening nature make it more likely for the suspect to engage. They are essentially the opening wedge to get the two-way dialogue flowing. And although the suspect is still partially committed to his catatonic state, as we can clearly see, he is still responsive, making it unlikely for him to regress into complete silence from this point forward. Everything up to this moment has gone to plan. The detective has one foot in the door, and he can now develop the relationship from a more secure position. He goes about this with a standard method of rapport development, the offer of food and water.
All right, let me do this. You want a cold water? You don't know if you want cold water? Thank you. Well, I'm going to bring in 2, because I want one. It was hot, and then if you decide you want to have it, that's fine. You sure you don't want something to eat? Okay.
The refusal to accept food and water is a familiar response which you may have already seen on this channel. It's a glaring manifestation of shame. This is not to be confused with guilt nor remorse, both of which require the acceptance of responsibility, which in turn directs our focus outwards on the feelings of others. Shame, on the other hand, shifts our focus on the perceptions of others towards ourselves. The subject is afraid of how it will look if he accepts the offer considering the circumstances. He instead wants to appear as if he's so negatively affected by the events that he's unconcerned with meeting his basic needs.
Of course, I have so many different keys. All right, I'll be right back.
Once again, his demeanor abruptly switches when the detective leaves the room. With his head buried in his hands, it's anyone's guess as to what is going through his mind at this moment. But what you are about to see next is extremely revealing. Cruz was a left-handed shooter. The surveillance at the school would confirm this, and if you pay close attention to the movements of his hands in the next moments, although very subtle, you can see that he's reimagining holding his weapon. But what's more telling is how his demeanor abruptly stops and then completely switches right before he looks in the direction of the camera. He goes from holding a rifle and beginning to smirk, to then pretending to cry and reverting back to his suicidal mannerisms. This all occurs in under 4 seconds. It could be assumed that for a brief moment, he was not only recollecting the attack, but gaining gratification from doing so. He then remembered he was on film, giving reason for the sharp adjustment. His true self was reliving the attack and enjoying his work, while his false self was so dejected to the point he was externalizing suicidal thoughts. Complete opposites. His next calculated charade is one of self-harm. He first bites himself without drawing blood, or leaving any marks that were visible in his jail intake photographs.
The funny part is it's all an act, though. It's all an act.
He then scratches and squeezes at the 2 needle punctures in his arm from where his blood was taken at the hospital. At the very moment the detective re-enters the room, he will act as if he's desperately trying to conceal his self-injurious behavior.
All right.
Setting aside the glaring contradiction that he just murdered and maimed dozens of people while leaving himself without so much as a scratch, it's the frequency of these little charades that makes their deception so transparent. This is a person who is not self-injurious, pretending to be someone that is. But it's such a feeble attempt at feigned self-harm, it would almost be a comical moment if the circumstances weren't as horrific.
So if they're not bleeding anymore and you want them off, we can pull them off. I'll get you a garbage can. You want them off? Just put them on the, throw them on the floor in the corner. Alright, this one is mine, because I already opened it. This one's yours in case you change your mind.
The next 4 minutes are the extremely tedious process of getting the subject to engage further through basic questions. The topic of his phone will now be brought up.
What about your phone? Do you have a phone?
I lost it.
When did you lose it?
He's lying.
Today?
Today.
Okay. What kind of phone is it?
I don't know.
Okay,
Lying.
is it a flip top, an iPhone,
It's a flip top.
Samsung?
Um,
It's a phone. What's the number?
I don't know.
I can't remember.
Okay.
He will now begin to feign a state of hysteria, which then morphs into a simulated panic attack and fake hyperventilation. The detective will need to refute the act immediately as to not let the subject gain confidence with it, but he also has to maintain rapport and avoid confrontation. He essentially has to tell the subject to knock it off, but in the most passive manner possible.
I can't remember, dude. I can't.
Okay, Nick, calm down.
Okay.
You've already been medically cleared. I know what's going to be talked about is difficult, but again, you don't remember your phone number. How long you had the phone?
Boy, you about cap as hell, boy.
How long have you had the phone?
Boy, you about cap as hell. You ain't fooling nobody, nigga. The funny part is, I think he did though when he walked out. Like when he walked out the room, I think they wouldn't like. I think people are literally looking at the camera right now. They looking like they're just staring at him the whole time. So he walked out like they just looked at like what he's doing. You feel me? Like other than this being recorded the whole time, but they're looking at the cameras. So him doing all this and acting like
Doctor's already looked at you.
Okay.
Okay, you're fine. You're not having any problems at the moment, and you're perfectly fine. So calm your breathing down. All right, and I want to
not fooling nobody, boy. You about cap your hell, boy.
Me, but you know, if we're getting where you're gonna hyperventilate over a phone number.
Okay.
Okay.
You fake, bro. How you gonna hyperventilate over a phone number? Like, right, exactly.
So what's your phone number? Huh?
954.
Okay, 954.
The manic episode is somewhat curbed, but the subject is still clearly committed to it.
954-821.
2007.
2007.
No. 1007.
1007. And again, going back to what kind it is. Do you know if it's an iPhone, a Samsung?
I don't know.
How long have you had it? Every kid knows what the phone is, man. I got kids your age.
Ever since my mother died.
I know, I heard about that. That's what I was going to talk about next.
This is a turning point. Cruz's adoptive mother had indeed passed away the year prior from pneumonia. The topic is sympathetic towards himself, and it seems to have stopped the feigned hysteria in its tracks. Compared to his neurotic behavior in the minutes leading up to this moment, he all of a sudden appears calm. He is clearly receptive, and thus responsive, to the cue of compassion when it's directed at himself. The detective recognizes this, and although he said he would talk about the subject's mother next, he instead focuses on it immediately to keep him engaged.
Alright. So, but you had, since your mom died, how long has your mom passed?
I can't remember, I think.
Okay. This
November.
year, last year?
November.
November? Okay. Okay, when your mom passed, were you living with her?
Yes.
Okay, what city was?
Bro, this is actually good, bro. The police is good, bro. The police officers are actually like very smart. This is crazy. Now that he explained this, is like crazy how like they know. They gotta think about how like they really be doing this. Like this is what they do. They went for school for this shit. So it's like wow, bro. Like interrogation. It's not really like interrogation for real. It's kind of like he's trying to just pick and piece, and it's just sweet to me. It's just sweet to me. Like how they do it.
Parkland.
Now he getting him to talk. Now he getting him to talk, and now I feel like he gonna try to. The reason he did it, it might be because his mama died, but he gonna try to. Now he talking more, so now this is gonna open up more doors.
Becomes more engaged.
So
in
he figured out a hole. Since he said his mother died, he figured out a hole. Now he about to just go inside the hole See if you can find any or more hoes.
The detective inquires further about his mother for roughly 3 minutes before shifting the discussion. It focuses mainly on the subject's background, and he first declares that he was depressed for the majority of his childhood. He then reveals his history of drug use, which consists of marijuana and Xanax. After that, he claims to have attempted suicide by alcohol poisoning 2 years ago, but in his own words, was able to sleep it off. He then states that he was employed at the Dollar Tree for the last 2 years working as a cashier.
So you've been able to hold down a job for 2 years. That's pretty good, right?
Yes.
Other than Dollar Tree, where else did you ever work?
Lawn mowing.
What?
Lawn mowing.
Lawn mowing? Oh, okay. All right. When you tried to kill yourself with alcohol, your mom was still alive. What were you depressed about back then?
Loneliness.
Loneliness?
Loneliness.
Friends? No friends? Or what kind of loneliness? I mean, everybody gets lonely.
Solitude.
Solitude? You don't have a lot of friends?
No.
Okay. Today, when I say today, starting from last night when you went to bed to this morning, did you do any kind of drugs at all? Any Xanax, any marijuana, anything like that? No? Okay.
The subject reveals that he has a biological brother whom he was adopted with. He then claims to have been making $1,200 a month at the Dollar Tree. The discussion now lands on what his aspirations were.
When you weren't depressed, what did you want to be when you got out of school?
Ranger.
A ranger? An Army Ranger? Did you ever apply, fill out any paperwork to try to go to the Army?
I took the ASVAB and failed.
Okay, why'd you fail?
Because I was stupid.
You what?
I'm stupid.
You're stupid? Okay, were you going to take it again?
I was afraid to take it.
Okay, but you had aspirations to do something with your life. You wanted to be that's a hell of a thing to want to be, an Army Ranger.
The discussion moves on to the subject's gun collection, which continues for roughly 4.5 minutes. The attack on the school is yet to be mentioned, but the last gun to now be discussed was his choice of weapon to commit the massacre.
What made you choose out of all the guns to want to buy an AR-15?
How was he able to buy an AR-15? How did he buy that? He's only 19 years old.
Cool looking.
Cool looking? Okay. Now when you bought it, I mean, it was a legitimate purchase. They gave you a receipt and everything, right? So you bought it legally, right? Did you fill out those forms and everything?
Wait, you could buy an AR? Wait, oh, maybe some Florida laws or some shit. That's probably what it is.
Okay, you remember those forms? Okay.
The detective now shifts the topic onto his former high school, the same place he carried out the attack.
Now, 3 years ago when you went to Douglas, and obviously you stopped going there, why'd you stop going there?
My depression worsened.
Your depression worsened, and what was going on? Did you just stop school on your own, or did some incident happen where?
Yes, some incident.
Well, what was the incident that happened?
Fought a kid.
You fought a kid? You remember the kid's name? Ian. And did you guys both get in trouble for the fight, or?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what did they do? Suspend you?
They suspended me.
Okay. And what happened from there? After you got suspended, you go back to school?
Yeah.
Okay. What happened? Why'd you stop going there then?
Felt embarrassed.
You felt embarrassed because you got suspended, or you felt embarrassed because of why?
Because of the fight.
Got his ass beat. That's what happened. Got his ass beat.
What was embarrassing about the fight? What were you guys fighting over?
A girl.
A girl?
Oh,
what was embarrassing about it?
Got his ass beat.
I mean, did Ian get the better of you? Was that what was embarrassing, or he got the better of you?
He got his ass beat.
He has just provided the state with a solid argument for a motive. Establishing a reason for an offense is critical when dealing with claims of insanity. It can not only indicate premeditation, but also calculated malice in connection to the crime, something considered absent in the mind of the criminally insane. He also asserts that he was lonely and depressed while attending the school, all of which can reinforce the argument that he was exacting revenge upon the community in which he felt ostracized.
All right, so you go back to school. What ends up happening? You just stop going to school out there, or you got into more problems?
Got into more problems.
What was the more problems?
Failing class.
Okay.
Not going to school.
Okay. And this was all while your mom was still alive?
Yeah.
Okay. Did there come a point in time where you just stopped going there, or they expelled you?
Or I just stopped going and then transferred me.
They transferred you? When they transferred you, was that upsetting to you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why was
As
that
we know,
upsetting?
the suspect has made the claim about hearing a voice which he labeled the demon. The detective will now attempt to get a detailed narrative of these perceptual disturbances. He will do so by asking a series of open-ended questions and then continuous follow-up questions thereafter. This will lock him into specific claims about what he was hearing. The more information he gives away, the less he will be able to amend later on. And the more questions that are posed, the more likely he is to make contradictions that can be used against him. The suspect believes this is some type of clinical evaluation for the sake of his own well-being, and this misconception will become glaringly apparent later on. He, at this moment, is oblivious to the fact he is giving information away that will be used to cut through his own defense in years to come.
You go to the hospital, the doctors clear you, and you're talking about demons. What are the demons?
Voices.
Well, tell me about it. What are the voices about?
It's another voice, the evil side.
Okay. And how long has that voice been going on?
Years.
Did you ever tell anybody about the voice? Never? And what does the voice say to you?
Burn, kill, destroy.
Okay, burn, kill, destroy what?
Anything.
Okay. But have you ever burned, killed, or destroyed?
I feel like he lying.
What have you burned, killed, or destroyed?
Burned, just fire. Set fire.
To what?
Pit. In a pit. Fire.
Oh, a fire pit. Okay, well, I mean, the voice told you to burn something, you built a fire in a fire pit. What's destructive about that? That's what fire pits are made for. What else did the voice tell you to do that's...
Kill animals.
Okay, have you ever killed animals?
Yes.
What kind of animals?
Birds.
Birds? Wild
Look,
birds?
how you kill birds?
Pets? How do you kill them?
Birds.
How do you kill them?
Wait for them, kill them.
Oh, can't catch them, so how are you waiting for them?
Out in the grass.
He lying, bro. He lying.
I'm a bird lover. There's no way. You can't catch a bird, Holmes.
Right, bro. You're lying.
With a pellet gun? Oh, okay. Where's your pellet gun?
It broke.
Okay. All right. So the voices tell you to hurt animals and start fires in the fire pit. When was the last time you heard the voice?
Yesterday.
What time was it yesterday?
It was at night.
Okay. And where were you at?
Work.
You're at work? So you're at Dollar Tree. And what's the voice telling you?
Hurt people.
To hurt people. Hurt people at Dollar Tree? Or hurt people?
Hurt people in general.
Okay. Doesn't say specifically who? Alright. Can you tell how old the voice is?
My age.
Okay. Do you have a good voice too, or just a bad voice? Is there a voice inside you that says, do good things?
The detective will now start getting confrontational, and the subject's behavior will shift once more in response. You will see him get defensive as he attempts to protect his narrative, and his responses will become much faster. He will even cut the detective off multiple times. Keep in mind that he was barely saying anything at the start of this interrogation.
No?
So it's bad.
Can't be. You held down a job for 2 years. If you were doing things bad, you wouldn't be able to hold the job down for 2 years, right? Okay. I mean, look. Everybody has.
It's me and then my bad side.
I understand. Everybody's got a quote good and bad side. There's people.
No, it's a voice. The voice is in here, and it's me, just regular me, just trying to be a good person.
Okay.
Set aside his contradicting behavior for a moment and focus solely on his storyline. In his ideal scenario, we are to believe that he was battling these supposed voices and, in his own words, trying to be a good person. Yet he was unable to reveal or seek help for this internal struggle until the very moment of his arrest. It was quite literally the second he was confronted with his comeuppance that his supposed demons came to light. Now that he is in custody, with the atrocities already committed, he is somehow able to maintain control over the force that was previously keeping him silent. But a deleted video that would later be extracted from his phone would tell a very different story.
Oh.
Hello. My name is Nick, and I'm going to be the next school shooter of 2008.
Oh! Oh my God. No way you made a video. Oh my God. What the fuck? Bro. No. Hell no.
Hello.
Oh my God.
My name is Nick.
What the
and I'm gonna be
fuck?
the next school shooter of 2018. My goal is at least 20 people with an AR-15 and a couple tracer rounds. I think I can get done. Location is Stone Douglas in Parkland, Florida. It's gonna be a big event. And when you see me on the news, you'll all know who I am.
There are no signs of perceptual disturbances. There is no anguish, doubt, hesitation, or uncertainty when announcing his intentions. By his own narrative, he claims to have continuously fought against the evil intentions of the voice. Yet from a visual standpoint...
So he wanted to do this. Bro, hey man, look. We're gonna end the video here, y'all. I'm gonna make a part 2. I don't want this video to be too long. Sorry, 40 minutes long. This is crazy right here. Y'all tell me if I want a part 2. Let's see, man. I like this. So what's the? I hope I don't get copyrighted though. That's the only thing. I just want to get copyrighted. I like this YouTube channel. I like this shit. Hey man, y'all like, comment, subscribe. Comment on me. Yeah, to next man. Follow me on Instagram, where I'm most active at. We're on the grind to 1K, man. And I'm out.